Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Orlando. My name is Charles Connelly-Candelario, a member of this congregation and also a service on the worship team. With me in today's service are our worship leader, director of music Aubrey Connelly-Candelario, and guest musicians Carol Rain and Cami Horn. And let's not forget our team of wonderful people in the background working diligently to ensure that we come together this morning, so thanks to you all. Children would go to supervised free play after we sing them out, after the time for all ages, and the nursery is open until noon. We greet you this morning, old friends and new ones, as we explore our Unitarian Universalist faith, which draws us into a community of justice seekers with a commitment to lifelong spiritual growth and compassionate service to the community. As a Unitarian Universalist congregation, we are a non-creedal community that does not subscribe to a specific set of beliefs. We live by a covenant that encourages ethical behavior, affirms democracy, celebrates the worth of each individual, and unites us in a search for truth in meaning. Whether today is your first or your 1000th Sunday in our midst, you are welcome and accepted here. Whoever you are, whoever you love, welcome. We welcome your race, national origin, immigration status, gender identity, sexual orientation, age, physical or mental abilities, economic status, or religious background. We welcome and accept you. For more information about our congregation and announcements, go to orlandouu.org or email welcometeam@orlandouu.org. We have a few special announcements today. From the Lifespan Religious Enrichment Program, please refer to the slides, Facebook posts, and email blasts for information about a vision board creation workshop on January 2nd, a women's Christmas mini retreat on January 6th, the field trips on January 5th and January 7th, and the Welcoming Wednesday events coming up. If you have any questions, please reach out to Judith. She will be checking email over the weekend and will be back in the building Tuesday morning. Today is the last day to donate to our 2024 fundraiser, the 1U Community Exchange. Donate dinners, events, and services using the link and here and in the newsletter. Your donation will bring people together and support the 1U. Also, let's keep our friends warm. The Friends of New Image Youth Center are asking for your donations of new socks, ages K through 12, and gently used mittens. Collections in Gore Hall will be until January 14th. All other announcements are on the slides before and after the service, and we have links in the weekly update or on our website. If you'd like to follow along in the service, please use the QR code shown in the monitor and on the first few slides. Again, thanks for being here in person and online today. Please say the words with me as we light the chalice. In the light of truth and in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. Please rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing our opening hymn, number 13, Songs of Spirit, verses 1 and 3. The words for all hymns will appear on the screen above. A word about this hymn. To our knowledge, this congregation has never sung this hymn before today. Carol will be playing the melody one time through, and then we will sing verse 1 and 3. Remember, it's good to try new things. So, good luck.
that could be the first and last time we ever sing that in this sanctuary. Good morning. And I'll take the blame. I did choose that. I like the words. Welcome to the last day of 2023, which is 12/31/23, and you haven't noticed yet, today is 1-2-3-1-2-3. Isn't that great? I always miss these days when it's something like that. I woke up this morning, I'm like, yes, I'll finally remember 1-2-3-1-2-3. It's good to be with you this morning. I trust you had a happy, peaceful, and restful Christmas, or Hanukkah, or solstice, or Kwanzaa, or any combination thereof. In my family, we celebrate a Merry Thanksgiving, starting October 1st, and we end about February 14th. Between those dates are Halloween, Thanksgiving, solstice, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Charles's birthday, New Year's, Martin Luther King Day, our anniversary, which this year will be 29 years together. I'm not that old. And then finally, Valentine's Day. And after that, we really need some spiritual healing. Hear these words by Muhammad Yunus. The healing music. Listening to music that falls like rains, growing love, producing ecstasy. I'm feeling peace in my soul and heart. It lifts me up from the lowest of low. My heart feels quiet and calm. The flame of love within remains burning. The light of love on my face shines. Music enlightens my mind and soul. When alone in stillness, I hear the unending melodies of tunes coming from the hiding musician who wears the mask of music over their face. Still, I recognize this hidden musician. By their sweet music, I forget about all the trials and tribulations that life throws my way. Even when the ground is shaky and strong winds make me sway, I stand firm through the night and day to hear the melodious music echoing inside and outside me. The sweet music gives me victory over the temptations of my nafs, or ego, that remain coming and trying my resilience all the way. I shall hold on and surface victorious over sadness and disappointment that come in my life, because I hear the healing music constantly, night and day. And now let's take a moment to greet one another. This is normally the time for our words for all ages, and we would bring the all ages forward. Today I'm just going to ask you to stay where you are. If there are any children here after this portion, you can exit and go to our planned activities. But today, this is going to involve everybody, so I thought we would do everybody. I am a music educator. I teach middle school and high school music, and as of that, I'm always getting all these reports in from music organizations across the country, and they're talking about different aspects of music. One that I read recently was a reminder that as an American culture, some of us of a certain age and older remember when we had common music. Maybe you grew up knowing all of the Christmas hymns, or you knew all of the patriotic anthems, or a lot of folk music, and that was taught in our schools. But as we've become more aware that a lot of that music is very problematic, we've sort of gotten away from that music, which I wholly support. But it also means we've lost something. We don't have a common language of familiar songs anymore. But I'm just curious, of those of you out there, what's a song that you think you knew in your youth or learned at school that is something that probably a lot of people in the room would know? And if you'll just holler it out, I'll repeat it so we can all hear on the microphone. But for me, I always think of, I learned in elementary school, "This land is your land."
We shall overcome.
We shall overcome. Right. America the Beautiful.
Home on the range.
Jingle Bells and Home on the Range. Yes. Kumbaya. Yes. Is there room for one more? The Rainbow Connection. That's a little more modern, but absolutely. So those are songs that a lot of us hold in our hearts and we know. And if I'm in a room with a group of people my age, we could all sing those together. Interestingly, there was a poll done that says, well, what is the music like that for today's youth? And not just the youth, but would go up through the generations, that a student in kindergarten and their grandparent would be able to sing together. So now I want you to take a guess. What do you think is out there right now that a kindergartner and their grandparent would know all the words to and could sing?
Baby Shark.
Baby Shark? Although I really agree with that, that was not the answer, but I think you're right. Puff the Magic Dragon is good, but it's not the one they've come up with, not the one the poll says. Let it go, let it go. Nope, not that one. Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star is another great one. Oh, thank you. Oh, yes, the song You Are My Sunshine, right. Yes, nope, not that one. I'll give you a hint. It's from a movie that was originally a Broadway show. I hear the Do, Re, Mi. All these polls have said that the song Do, Re, Mi is the song that generationally in America right now is our God Bless America or America the Beautiful. So I thought maybe we'll just try a little bit of that a cappella, see if it's right. Do, ready? Do, a deer, a female deer, Re, a drop of golden sun. Oh, me, a name I call myself, Fa, a long, long way to run. So, a needle pulling thread, La, a note to follow. So, Tea, a drink with jam and bread, that will bring us back to Do. And then you can go on and on, right? So there you go. Maybe they were right. So now, our children are invited outside for supervised play, but can we form an arch? We like to form the arch even if there aren't children here. But can we stand, please, and we'll sing the children out to This Little Light of Mine, hymn 118. Carol?
Good morning. I'm Andy Berry, a member of your Board of Trustees, and let me be the first this morning, because I'm at least partially Scottish, to wish you a happy Hogmanay. We invite you now into the practice of generosity. It's one of our spiritual values which sustains the life and ministries of our church community. Let us be grateful for the opportunity to give. for it is a privilege to be able to do so, and let us be grateful for our needs, for they give us the opportunity to practice receiving. This is the 5th Sunday of the month, so 100% of our today's collection will go to Blue, Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. Blue's membership is composed primarily of UUs who are Black and are African in descent, creating deeper connections with one another within the Unitarian Universalism. Blue is committed to providing support, information, and resources for Black Unitarian Universalists and justice making and liberation for Black people throughout our faith. You can also donate online at blacklivesuu.org. The offering will now be collected. Note that you can also give online using the link. Thank you, Cami. That was beautiful. Let us now receive what has been offered here in the spirit of gratitude and fellowship.
This is the time we set aside for deep sharing of our hearts and for prayer and meditation. If you have a sorrow that you need witnessed or helped with, or have a joy that you wish to share, please contribute to our collective sharing of joys and sorrows to be read each Sunday during worship. You can send an email to joysandsorrows@orlandouu.org during the week. If you're attending in person, you can also fill out a card at the registration table when you come in and hand it to an usher before the start of service. And after the meditation, we will call you forward to participate in our candle lighting ritual this morning. Bring your joys and your sorrows as we come together. Come as you are. Your whole self is welcome in this sacred space we are creating together. It looks like we have one entry today from you. Sherry Rondi shares, "Pray my doctors act expeditiously to get me back to Florida and the service that vitalizes me." We continue to hold our Orlando, Central Florida community in love and compassion as we and our state continue to need comfort and activism to eradicate hate. Continued prayer for our world and our human family as conflicts beset communities around the world, including in Ukraine, Gaza, and Israel. And for all the joys and sorrows of this community shared today and for those held close to our hearts, let's pray, let's celebrate, and let's send each other healing energy. Our meditation today is a singing meditation. It's one we've done in this sanctuary many times. Meditation on breathing is hymn 1009. It's actually, if you listen to it in other churches or online, it's a gospel punk pop funk tune. And it has 3 different parts in polyphonic layering with a piano accompaniment. Today I like to strip it down. This is how I like to do it. So we're going to just chant this back and forth for a couple minutes, however it feels good. And then at the end, any choir members out there who know the obligato that goes with it, please sing along, and then eventually I'll bring us all to a halting spot. What I ask now is that you just take a moment to get comfortable in your pew, maybe put your hands at your side or on your lap, take a few natural deep breaths in. If you want to, you can close your eyes. And we're going to want to see. Just sing after me as you feel comfortable, or sing with me as you feel comfortable. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, let that hum fade away.
We now invite you to come forward and light a candle of remembrance, loving kindness, or hope. Our first candle honors the joys and concerns of those of you who are joining online, and the last candle will be for all who are holding their joys and sorrows in this room.
First candle was lit today for the people at home watching, and our last candle is for all those who still have something in their heart to share. O come, Emmanuel, and with your captive children dwell. Give comfort to all exiles here, and to the aching heart bid cheer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as love to dwell.
We now have a reading, Music of the Spheres. The first music we don't hear but know is inner. The rings round atoms singing, the bright levels in matter revealed by colors, through spectrum scales all up and down, the quantum ladder in fireworks of the inner horizons, each zone voicing its wavelength with choirs in the tiny stadiums of harmony of the deeper galaxies, ancient octaves and intervals lit cities within every speck of substance.
or have the privilege of getting to lead 2 services a year here at 1U. One is always an all-music service, and the other, always held on the Sunday after Christmas, is not a music service, but I call it a service led by the director of music, so you have different expectations. Sometimes the topic is a passion of mine. You may remember, if you were here last year, that I taught everyone how to say my name correctly. It is Connelly-Candelario. My husband says it wrong. Candelario. No. When my name can be Candelario, it's going to be Candelario. But if you think I'm an even bigger narcissist than I actually am, that service was all about defining your personal identity. This year, I was inspired by a member of our choir, Julia Willison. She and her mother perform a concert every year at their home UU church, singing and playing songs that speak to them on a deeper level as they invite their listeners to find a spiritual solace in music. Hopefully, that duo will perform for us in the new year, that kind of service. I was also inspired by my friend Carol, who's at the piano today. She and I met almost 30 years ago here in Orlando working as professional musicians. Ironically, Carol and her family eventually relocated to Columbus, Ohio, my hometown. There, Carol and my sister have become good friends and cohorts in pagan beliefs. A few weeks ago, out of the blue, Carol called me and said, "Hey, I'm going to be in Orlando for New Year's Eve. Do you want to hang out?" And I'm like, "Sure, as long as you'll come play piano at church, we can hang out." And then afterwards, we put on our pajamas and stay inside all day where it's safe and warm and we're in bed before midnight. Carol is a spiritualist and has been studying the practice of mediumship and channeling. When Carol makes a connection with someone beyond the veil, she hears music, messages in the form of songs or simple, familiar melodies that hold a special meaning between the living and the departed. For Carol, the connection between music and spiritual healing is a vital part of her life. I, on the other hand, struggle with those mystical or divine terms. Spirit, God, soul. Carol did ask me if her spiritual practices would be considered too woo-woo for this church. I told her that in my experience, there's nothing too woo-woo for a UU. I think I created a new tagline for this church. You can use it. Like some of you, I am an atheist, and I have a zigzagging history with spirituality and religion. From a young age, I began guest singing in different Christian churches almost every Sunday morning in Marion and Columbus, Ohio. By the time I was 18, I estimate that I sang at over 100 different churches, all of different denominations. In college, I was a paid singer for the Church of Christian Scientists. Someday I'll do a whole sermon on that. And a Jewish synagogue. During all of this, I was a Christian and a definite believer in Jesus as the divine Savior. I knew that my soul was going to heaven when it was finished with this earthly body. But at 19, I came out of the closet, and a week later, I was a born-again atheist. No one really saw that coming, least of all me, but in the middle of the AIDS crisis, with churches turning up the anti-gay rhetoric, my new path suddenly became very clear. Funny enough, in all that time church hopping, I never even heard of a Unitarian Universalist church. I like to think that if I had, maybe my path from 19 till now would have been easier. After rejecting all things spiritual for decades, I now find myself exploring the differences and similarities between religion and spirituality. Dr. Maya Spencer says, spirituality involves the recognition of a feeling or sense or belief that there is something greater than myself, something more to being human than sensory experience, and that the greater whole of which we are part is cosmic or divine in nature. There's that divine language again. If I allow myself to be vulnerable in front of all you, I have to admit that the word divine kind of makes my skin crawl. but a personal exploration, a sense of something greater than myself, more to being human, that I can understand. My love for my husband and my son are a mystery to me. I like a lot of people, and I love a few, but what I feel for Charles and Tavares surpasses my understanding. Fireworks leave me breathless every time. I know it's just a bunch of burning chemicals flung into the night sky, but it's magical. In music, the joy and sorrow I find in music, I giggle with uncontrollable delight when I hear the final movement of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. When our choir here at church sings a chord in perfect harmony and creates cascading overtones, I get goosebumps up and down my spine. When the fife and drum play outside the American Adventure at Epcot, despite my best efforts, I feel a swelling patriotic pride in my country, and I am filled with hope that the right shall prevail. When both of my parents died, I couldn't shed a tear. I just went numb. So I sat at my mom's piano and played and sang hymns until the music opened the floodgates and I was able to grieve their passing. My last story is, hopefully none of you noticed this, but about a year ago, I had read a novel that really overwhelmed my senses, similarly to how I had felt when my parents died. In the middle of a service, I was at that piano playing Spirit of Life, and I just started crying. The music got to me. So I sat at the piano, hunched over, face towards the wall, keeping an eye on the music, playing and singing, and just praying, and over, Max, don't do a close-up on my face. Max, don't do a close-up on my face. Put the camera somewhere else. Music is a power greater than myself. It can do for me what I cannot do alone. I turn to music in times of need. I relax with music, and I celebrate with music. Although music is not my only source of emotional experience, it is definitely my higher power. Many of you have shared with me over the years your sources of spirituality: gardening, reading, walking, meditating, praying, writing, this congregation, and many more. You won't find it surprising to know that many folks in our music groups here at 1U say that music is a big part of their spiritual practice. One member reports that choir specifically is their most important source of spirituality. For me, music can be a door that opens my heart back to some of the feelings I had as a child: wonder, awe, connection to the divine. I was going to close my sermon today with a story about the song Amazing Grace. It is the most recorded song in history, and the lyrics, speaking of grace and being found, really mesh with my own search for spirituality. I find the first verse of that hymn the least offensive to my devout atheism, and I really do love that song. But to be honest, it's not the song I turn to when I'm in pain. It's not the song I turn to when I'm in need of some spiritual healing. The born-again atheist in me wishes my go-to song was a pop anthem from the 1980s, or maybe a social justice song by Holly Near. But inconveniently, my song of choice is a hymn from my childhood. The lyrics are in direct opposition to my current beliefs, but they paint a picture of immense spiritual joy and wonder that get me every time. The melody is both intimate and personal and giant and soaring. So today, on the last day of the year, as we make our resolutions and think about the future, I hope you will take some time to think about your own spiritual path, the ways in which you deepen your connection to the universe, and that you will now indulge me while I sing this most Christian of hymns. O Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds worlds thy hands have made. I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Now, please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our closing hymn 159, This Is My Song. The words will be posted on the screens. This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and wide. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on clover leaf and pine. But other lands have sunlight too and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, thou God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land and for mine. Our call to action today. Music is not always meant to be background music. We hear music in the grocery store, in elevators, theme parks, TV ads, video games. It can become a noisy cacophony that is meaningless. My call to action for you this week is a personal one. Take 5 minutes, remain silent and still, and listen to a favorite song. Don't do anything else while it's happening. Just sit and listen and absorb. Take 5 minutes to make music an important moment of your life. And now will you please join us as we extinguish the chalice by saying these words with me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.